everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to be creating 10 cards using the Love from Lizi August 2017 card kit. This kit's amazing, and I did do an unboxing. If you want to check that out, you can see the things that came in the kit in more detail. But for now, I'm just going to give you a brief view of what comes in the kit. You get all these pattern papers, some specialty papers, some Lizi exclusive peel-offs. You get 5 sheets of cardstock, and you get some Autumn Red Nouveau glitter drops. No, these are crystal drops. Sorry about that. And then you get twine and ribbons. You get this chameleon pen, which is a beautiful green. You get this book plate. It's a metal book plate. It's real pretty. This Made with Love die. You get this magnetic sheet, and then you also get 2 tags that have a little bit of a glitter embellishment, 6 craft stickers that are hearts, 2 of the corkboard tags, which are pretty thick, which are really nice, some gems. You get a cookies and cream sequin mix, 3 little birdhouses and people houses, and then the Love from Lizi exclusive stamp set. You also get, basically this was a 12 by 12 sheet of vellum papers. We're going to jump in and get started with card number 1. For card number 1, I wanted to go for like a picture frame kind of a card. So I'm taking 2 stitch rectangle dies, and I'm going to cut out a frame with this gingham paper. Once I get that done, I'm just going to tape it down, that way they don't shift when I put it through my Big Shot. And then next I'm taking a smaller frame that fits on the inside of there, and I cut a piece of this pattern paper out. This is a real pretty pattern paper. And then I'm going to go for one more frame. I want a lot of dimension in here, so I'm using this gold shimmer paper. It's really beautiful. So I basically have 2 frames and then the inside of it. So I'm taking the black card base, and I'm going to pop up this frame with some foam tape. Now this foam tape that I'm using here is the thickest one that I have, and then I use the thinner one to adhere that gingham frame on the inside of that gold shimmer frame. So there's a lot of dimension going on with this card. Now, I like the black background, so I just cut out that panel to be a little bit smaller than the first time that I cut it out. And I'm going to place that right in the center of my card here. And then next, I'm going through the vellum, and there's this really pretty, it's almost like a tag, but it has the same vellum background as the background I used for the card. I just trimmed that off. And then I added some gold brads to the vellum piece, and then also to this tag. This tag is a chalkboard tag, and it's just beautiful. It has a gold glitter heart in the bottom, and it's just really pretty. So I attached them together with some twine, and I tied a bow, and then I popped them up with some foam tape. I placed that kind of at a diagonal in the center of my card, and added the wooden house, and that was it for card 1. Now moving on to card number 2. Now I don't know what happened, but my screen somehow elongated. I don't know how that happened. It had to be when I was transferring the video, but I'm sorry about that. This is the only card where the screen's longer, so it's actually, my card is ending up to be a standard A2 size card. It's just odd shaped right now. Sorry about that. But here I am. I'm using my Memento ink, and I'm stamping my images. I'm stamping the cherries and then the leaf twice, and then I'm stamping the banner that came in the stamp set, and then on the inside of that I'm stamping using my red ink. This is Raspberry Jam. It's a hero hue, and I'm stamping the sentiment that says Made with Love. I'm going to do that twice. I wanted, for this card, I wanted the sentiment to be almost dimensional in itself. So what I'm going to end up doing is just cutting off the ends of one of those sentiments. You'll see here in a second what I did. But I'm using this chameleon pen. This is a pretty neat pen. Now, all Lizi's kits come with these pens now, and so far there's 3 of her kits have came with it. So I'm actually really liking these pens. These are pretty neat. I colored in the leaves with the chameleon pen and then went ahead and colored in those cherries with my alcohol markers. Now here you can see me, this is where I wanted to make my little tag a little bit dimensional, so I'm just adding a piece of foam tape to that center piece that I had cut out, and I'm going to pop it right over my banner on top. This just gives it a little added dimension. Okay, we have everything ready. Now we're going to make our card. First off, I'm taking this cherry pattern paper, and I'm going to cut a strip of it that's probably about 3 inches wide, and then it's the length of the card base. And then using a die from my stash, it's a tag. I cut that out, and I also added a red brad to the top of that. I'm taking my scallop punch, and I cut out 2 strips using my scallop punch. And then I wanted to bring in some brown, so I have my wood grain stamp, and I stamped it using some rich cocoa ink, and then I cut it out using a scallop circle die. Now I'm going to take some score tape, and Lizi's kit came with a real pretty burlap ribbon, and I really like the edges on it. And so what I ended up doing is adding score tape to each side of that pattern paper, and then I'm going to just trim this ribbon, and I'm going to cut it straight down the middle so I have 2 pieces on the end. I'm going to actually just use not the ribbon itself, but the edging of the ribbon. I'm just going to adhere that to my pattern paper, and I'm going to go ahead and do that to both sides. Score tape works really good because it's really strong. And then I'm just going to trim off the excess there. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, these are like chocolate colored peel-offs, and I thought it would just go perfect on the edges, and it really gave it a clean look, and I like that. Look how pretty. I think it looks so nice. Okay, now for this card I'm using the red card base, and it's cut down to a standard size card. And I'm just kind of placing it on my card base here, and then I'm marking it with a pencil. That way I know where to put my white scallop strips here. And then I did pop up that cherry pattern paper and stick it right on top of those white scallop strips. Next I'm taking the twine that came with the kit, and I'm tying a bow at the top of my tag here. Pretty. And then I'm just going to arrange it on my card front. And when I popped it up with some foam tape, and then I did glue down my little scallop circle there. I'm taking the cherries, and I'm going to use dimensional adhesive to pop those up as well, along with my sentiment. And I just trim the excess off the bow. Next, I'm going to take the Nuvo crystal drops that came in the kit. These are the, let's see, autumn red. Beautiful crystal drops. And then I did add some glossy accents to the card here. And that was it for card 2. Okay, now we're going to move along to card number 3. Now, for card number 3, I think this pattern paper is really neat. And so I'm going to just cut down a rectangle. And then I also cut out a strip of the pattern paper that has the stripes on it. And then using the die, I cut out 3 of the Made with Loves using white cardstock. And then I did cut out a black circle. And since I did have my scallop edge on my desk, I went ahead and cut out one side of that black cardstock. And I'm going to use that, I'm going to trim it down here, and then I'm going to use that on the bottom of that pattern paper. And then I wanted to add a little bit more, so I cut another strip of that stripe paper. Okay, we have all of our elements. Now we're going to build our card. For this card, I am going to be using, there's a real pretty yellow cardstock that came in the kit. And you can see here I just added the scallop to that pattern paper. And then I really love this ribbon. Or this is a burlap, and I really like it. So I'm going to use some double-sided tape and adhere that to the back of this. And I just peeled it off and placed it to the right side of the card. And the tape works really well, and it doesn't fray the ends after you cut them, which I really like. Next, I'm going to kind of cut the ends of this strip at a diagonal. And I'm going to pop that up with some foam tape. And then I'm going to pop up this panel as well. And I did round the corner on one end there. Now next I'm going to take my 3 Made with Loves, and I'm going to stack them all together and then place them on top of that black circle. This gives a lot of dimension, and I really like that, and it gives a lot of sturdiness to the card too. I fishtailed the ends of that stripe paper there, and then I'm going to pop up my little sentiment circle with some foam tape. But before I adhere it, I took the inside of one of those die cuts, and I wanted to add a little color to there. So I'm just taking my red alcohol marker, and I'm coloring in the center of that heart. And I'm just going to glue it on the inside there. And since this is only a 1 layer, I think it gave a lot of dimension because it sat flat on the bottom inside that heart area. And I really like the way this turned out. And I really like the little touch of color that it gave. I'm going to pop that up and place that on my card base there. I think that's so pretty. I love the dimension in there. Okay, now I thought it needed a little bit more bells and whistles, so I'm taking these gold gems, and I love these because there's so many different sizes, and I'm just going to add dots of the gems on top of the dots that are in the pattern paper, just to add a little bit of shine to the card. And that's it for that one. I think it turned out very pretty. Okay, now we're going to move on to our next card. For this card, I love this vellum piece here. So I'm going to use that for this card. And I'm using, this is like a vanilla card base. So just using my tape runner, I'm going around the edges of the vellum piece. And then I'm just going to adhere that directly on my card base. Now I like a lot of dimension on my cards. And so to me this card was just a little bit on the flat side. So look, I think that sentiment's so pretty. So I cut out this pattern paper. It's the one with the stars on it. And I'm going to place that in the bottom. And then I also cut a strip of the gingham, the red gingham paper. And I'm going to place that almost on the seam there. And then just to add, I need some dimension on this card. I kept thinking, what do I need to do? So I thought, well, I'm going to add some of this ribbon. Now this ribbon is a felt ribbon. Almost, well, not, it's not felt. I'm sorry. It's like it's velvet, I want to say, but it's very pretty. And so I added that, and that gave it a little bit of dimension. But I just wanted a little bit more, so I took one of the vellum pieces, and it has a gold knife and a fork, and I cut both of those out. And I think they're so cute. They're like the perfect size. And so I have these itty bitty these are itty bitty guys. These are small foam dimensional dots or squares, but they're so small. And I'm glad I got to use it for this card because I have no idea what I would use these for. They were so small. But I like them. So I just added them to the fork and to the knife, and then I'm going to crisscross them on my card there. I kind of had the knife go over the L so it kind of blended a little bit, and then I wanted to cover up that clear vellum area in the middle, so I tied a bow with that velvet ribbon and placed it in the center of my little utensils. And then I'm adding some of those gold gems to the top centers of those flowers up there. And just those little touches added so much to this card, and I really like the way it turned out. So that's it for that card. Okay, now we're going to move on to our next one. Now, for our next one, I'm going to call this my country card. So I took this pattern. This is like a quilted pattern. And then using my craft knife, I'm going to take, just kind of randomly go over some of those triangle areas and cut them out. So basically I'm lifting up a few of the triangle areas, and it's giving it a lot of dimension, which I like. And I'm just going to pop, after I got that done, I'm just going to pop it up with some foam tape. And then I did cut out a piece of red pattern paper that was two-tone, just slightly smaller than that quilted pattern. And I set those aside. Now we're going to work on our sentiment. For this sentiment, I wanted to use Made with Love again. And so again, I'm using the red ink to stamp the sentiment, and then black ink to stamp the banner. And so we have that done, and I thought it needed a little more, so I took a heart die from my stash, and using that gingham paper, I cut out a heart. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop that up with some foam tape. And then I thought I wanted to tie a little bit of brown in there. The ink that I used for my little banner was a rich cocoa. So I decided to take my Vintage Faux Distress ink, and I distressed the edges of those triangles that I had used my craft knife and popped up. And then I also went around the edge of my card base. And for this card base, I am using it's like a mint green. I did that to the edges of that as well. I'm just going to pop up my heart. And then after I popped up the heart, I did make a bow using the rest of that twine that I had. I just doubled it up and then placed the sentiment right on top of it. And that's my country card. So that's it for that one. Okay, we're going to move along to our next one. Now for this card, okay, this is a vanilla cardstock, and I wanted to use that cardstock to cut out the Made with Love sentiment using the die. And so I cut out 2 of those, and I'm going to stack those together again just to add stability, and then to cover up that hole that I made with that rectangle die on my card base, I am going to use a piece of the brown shimmer paper, and just this, since this is what it looks like on the inside, I'm just going to make it a little bit more clean looking, so I added some of Lizi's peel-offs on the inside. Now, since I used the brown paper, shimmer paper, I thought I'd use the gold one too. So I used one of my dies from my stash, and I cut out a circle that has kind of a scallop frame. And then using the glitter paper, I cut out a smaller circle frame. And that glitter paper is just so gorgeous. I'm going to place that right in the center of this die cut here. Lovely. At first, that's what I thought I was going to do. I was going to go with that, but then I thought I really like. There's a cookies and cream sequin mix that came in the kit, and it's just gorgeous. And since this card is mostly browns and chocolate color, I decided to make a shaker card. So I added a piece of acetate. I cut out the center of that using a smaller circle die. Added a piece of acetate and some foam tape, and then I added all those beautiful sequins. Love the sequin mix. And then I'm just going to take another piece of clear acetate, place that in the center, and there's my shaker. I just love these colors together. I think they're very elegant and very beautiful. Now I thought it needed a little bit more, so I really like this velvet ribbon. So I cut out a slit on the top of my card base, and then I threaded it through and just tied a knot with that down there on the bottom. Then I added some tape to my shaker and I placed it on my card base. Now I have my vanilla made with love, and I glued that down with my multimedia mat, and I think that turned out so pretty. And that's it for that one. Okay, now for card number 5, this is score tape. It's score paper. It's like a sticky back paper, and I'm going to use that on my vellum. I'm going to actually cut out this this banner here from this vellum. So the score tape that I used, excuse me, really helped keep it stable, I guess you could say. So I'm just going to peel off the backing. So this vellum piece has completely sticky back, and I'm going to add that to some white cardstock. And then I trimmed it down a little bit, and then I added some foam tape, and I'm just going to pop that up on my card base. For this card, I'm using a piece of white cardstock from my stash that I cut down to a standard A2 size card. I popped up my little banner that I cut out, and I'm going to place it on top of my vellum piece here, but I'm going to offset it a little bit so you can see that white underneath. And then I went ahead and stamped the cherries and the leaves, and then I colored them in, and then I fussy cutted them out. I did this all off camera, sorry guys, because I needed to save time. But after I did that, I'm just going to place them on my card base here. I thought it needed just a little bit more. And then just to tie in the gold with the cherries that I had colored in, I added some Wink of Stella. And then next I'm going to add some sequins. I grabbed a few of the clear ones, or actually like the cream colored ones, and a few of the gold ones. And I just placed them a little bit randomly on the card here. I wanted to add a lot of, well, you can see I like dimension in my cards. So that's what I did. And that was it for that card. I think it turned out really pretty. I'm just going to add one more. Simple but very pretty, easy card. And if you don't have score tape, you could always use your Xyron machine, which would work great. Okay, now moving on, I think this is card number 6. Now, or are we on card number 8? I might have to fix that. But now for this card, I cut out 3 of the Made with Loves. And now this time I'm going to cut off the heart, and I'm going to cut off the Made. So I just want the with love. And then again, I'm going to stack all 3 of those together. I'm finding I really like the dimension that this gives. So that's my with love sentiment. And then for this was actually a very easy card. This is a cute little pattern paper that has apples on it. I just took my stitch rectangle die and cut out a panel. And then I also cut out a circle using that gold, I call it a shimmer paper. I'm not sure if that's the real name of it, but it's really pretty shiny gold paper. So I cut that out, and then I want to use this ribbon. I think I'm in love with this ribbon. So I added some double-sided, or actually I just used my tape runner. I added that ribbon to the bottom there, but before I sealed it off, I wanted to add another piece. I want to tie a knot with that other piece, but I want to know where to tie the knot at, because I know once I tie it, it'll be set. So I'm just kind of figuring out my placement. And then I wrapped the end around and tied my knot, added some fun foam just to pop it up, and place that in the center of my card. Now for this card too, I also used white cardstock. I used the cardstock from my stash because I did use some of the black cardstock on another card. So I needed 2 extra card bases. Now I'm going to tuck this gold circle underneath my ribbon there. And then I'm going to add the sentiment to it. I just use, I think I use my Nuvo, and actually my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive for that. And then I wanted a little bit more dimension, and so I took my circle punch and I'm punching out probably about 7 or 8 of these apples, and I'm placing some dimensional adhesive on them, and then I'm just kind of randomly placing them on the front of the card, so it has a lot of depth. And that's it. I really like the way that turned out. It's very easy but very pretty. Okay, now for card number 9. Here, I did go in order. Well, I didn't go in order. Anyway. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm taking some Post-it tape, and I'm kind of blocking off a 1/2 inch off of each side. And then I'm taking my VersaFine ink, Versamark ink, and I'm using one of the stamps that came in the set. It's a long strip with has little circles on it, and I just stamped that all the way up. I wanted a watermark, a light watermark. Now this card was a very different card. I wanted to do something different that you wouldn't expect that came from the kit, and the stamp set had these wonderful corners, and this one happens to be the corner with the stripes, and so I stamped that once and then stamped it again on some masking paper. I'm going to cut that out and then place that masking paper on that image that I stamped, and then I'm going to stamp it again, and then this way it gives me a really fun look. And I'm just going to repeat it. I repeated it 3 times, and I think it's a very fun, different way to use the stamp. I'm going to flip it around and do the exact same thing 3 times. Now, Lizzie's kit, I did mention, each of her kits, well, the last 3 ones came with some chameleon pens. So this kit came with a green, okay, grass green, but her other kits came with a cool gray and a light blue. And so I'm going to use the chameleon pens to color in these stamped images. Now, to save time, I just showed me coloring a little bit of one, but these pens are really fun. And so I went ahead and colored them all in, and then I cut it out. I kind of fussy cut it around them, and I think this looks very neat. I mean, I think if you wanted to change the sentiment up, I think it would be a pretty nice masculine card. I stamped the banner that was in the stamp set, and then I also grabbed the sentiment for my stash that says "Thinking of You," and I stamped that as well. And I popped it up and placed it right in the center of my little abstract piece here. Now for this card, I'm going to use the mint green cardstock. I'm going to pop that up right in the center, and then I thought it needed a little bit more, and I wanted a controlled splatter, so I'm just going in with my black marker here, and I'm adding dots, kind of at a diagonal. And that's it for that card. Very different card, but it was fun. I thought I'd throw that in there. Okay, now for a final card, I wanted to do another fun thing. Now, Lizzie's kit came with this really pretty, and it's a thick corkboard tag. And so I thought I would make a magnet with this. And so for my magnet, I'm stamping the lips using my red ink. I'm going to stamp it right in the center there. Kind of made a mess. And then I'm taking the sentiment that says sealed with a kiss. No, not sealed with a kiss. It's a kiss to cook, which is adorable. And then I'm kind of curving it on my acrylic block, just so it kind of matches the curve on that corkboard. I'm using some VersaFine ink. I figured this ink would give it a real nice impression. And I think just that alone would be a cute on your fridge. And then for my card background, I decided to take these lips and that red ink and stamp it all over a piece of that red shimmer paper. I had cut that out using my rectangle die, and I think that looks so fun, and I put it on my black card base. Now I thought it needed just a little bit more, and so in Lizzie's stamp set it has these utensils, a fork, a knife, and a spoon, and I made a trail of them along the bottom there, and I think that looks adorable. Now I thought it would be fun to add a magnet to the back of this little cork board, And so I'm going to add a magnet to the back of the cork board. I had messed up when I first stamped on the cork board. The lips were crooked, so I flipped it around. You didn't get to see that part. But I added the magnet behind there, and then I'm going to make sure my magnets snap together, and then I added a piece of double-sided tape and stuck it on the other magnet. That way one magnet will stick on the card and then the other magnet will stick to my cork board. It'd be a nice little fridge gift. And that's it. These are the 10 cards that I made using the August 2017 Love from Lizi kit. Thank you for bearing with me. I know this is a long video and I sound very long-winded, but I hope this gives you a lot of ideas on how to use this kit. This kit was so fun, so versatile, a lot of fun elements, and there's tons of stuff left over. I want to thank, I'll leave all the links below to where you can find Lizi's kits. Unfortunately, this kit has sold out, but I recommend a subscription. That way you never miss out on a kit, and I'll leave the link below in the description area for you. Thanks so much for stopping by. I wish you a lovely rest of the weekend, and we will see you soon. If you're new and like this tutorial, hit that subscribe button. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.